let's good morning everyone. So let's continue our topic. And this is the episode 3 of our rapid revision of the neuroanatomy. So let's talk. This is the telencephalon. We talked about here earlier. This is the prosencephalon, and prosencephalon there is the it will in future it will develop into telencephalon and diencephalon. So we are talking about this cavity, this part, okay? So this is a telencephalon. This telencephalon will develop in future. It will develop into right cerebral hemisphere, left cerebral hemisphere. Telencephalon will develop into cerebral hemisphere, right and the left, and the lateral ventricles, two lateral ventricles. There we see the two lateral ventricles. This is what we are talking about. Cerebral hemisphere, right and the left, and the two lateral ventricles. This is the first cavity. Now this is the second cavity. We are talking about diencephalon, which we are talking about this cavity. This is diencephalon, right? So diencephalon in future will develop into third ventricle. Diencephalon, we can see there is a third ventricle, right? So in diencephalon, it forms the third ventricle, and the hypothalamus. This is all we call as hypothalamus, and this part we call the pituitary stalk, and this is the anterior pituitary gland. This is the posterior pituitary gland, and this part will called as the hypothalamus. So diencephalon, third ventricle, hypothalamus, this entire part we call as the hypothalamus, and pituitary stalk. This is the pituitary stalk, and this is the anterior pituitary gland, this is the posterior pituitary gland, and the thalamus. So from diencephalon, what structures develop in the future is the five structures: third ventricle, hypothalamus, pituitary stalk, pituitary gland, anterior and the pituitary, posterior pituitary, and thalamus. Now talking about the mesencephalon. Mesencephalon is exactly which is a mesencephalon. This part is a mesencephalon, right? So mesencephalon will not develop into anything. It will remain alone, right? We talked earlier on this topic. Excuse me. Mesencephalon is remaining alone. Is not developing into anything in the future. So mesencephalon, so it's exactly the middle part, right? Here we have the 5 cavity, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the middle cavity is this cavity, and this is called as a mesencephalon. So mesencephalon is exactly the middle part, right? So from mesencephalon, what develops is the midbrain. This is the cerebral hemisphere, right? This structure develops from the telencephalon, and this part is called the midbrain, and this is our cerebral hemisphere. This is our midbrain. This is